Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple back again, like I said, and this is going to be a ration I've never actually reviewed before, aside from a written review on MRE Info years ago. Before I started getting into, doing video reviews for YouTube, I used to just do sort of written reviews for the MREinfo.com forum. This particular ration is a food packet long-range patrol. It's an American long-range patrol ration. This one is from the mid to late 90s, I believe. All I know is it's made by the Warner Company and the packaging fits that sort of era. And there's no date code stamped on the outside of the pack, so we're going to have to sort of open it up and see what the date codes of the components are inside before we know for sure the exact date, or around the same date that this was packed. What this is obviously meant for. This is a ration that was originally created during the Vietnam War as a lightweight meal for reconnaissance patrols. They'll be going, deep into the jungle, deep into the wilderness, I guess you want to call it. And they'd be gone for long periods of time, and it'd be a lot better if they could pack a meal that was lighter in weight than what their standard meal would have been. So back then for Vietnam, obviously, they would have been carrying MCIs, canned rations. They would have weighed a lot for you to take, enough for a couple days. Whereas something like this doesn't weigh very much. The main meal is freeze-dried as opposed to being, wet in a can or a retort pouch. So it doesn't have to weigh as much. Obviously, you need a little bit more extra water to reconstitute those meals. But I guess that's something they felt was a good enough trade-off, I guess. So what do we have? We've got menu number 1. Get the glare away from there. Menu number 1, chicken stew. Like I said, I don't know exactly what year it's from. But I guess the easiest way to find out is to crack it open and see what's inside. All right, first thing. Got ourselves a cornflake cereal bar. We got a date code here of what appears to be 8335, so it's probably the 335th day of 1998. It's probably the best guess for that. This just keeps getting better. We got ourselves an oatmeal cookie bar. Date code of 8317, so the 317th day of 1998. So either this was from a 1998 case that got packed really late in the year, or this was probably from a 1999 case that was just using some of the packing or the components from, late in the previous year for what it was going to use, Got our standard MRE spoon. Got an accessory packet here. We'll open that up, see what's inside. So the one major difference between the LRP, long range patrol like we have, and the MCW is that they use 2 toilet papers instead of 1. Got a packet of spearmint gum, book of matches, cream substitute, dry non-dairy, Domino sugar, iodized salt, and a packet of red Taster's Choice, which actually sounds like it's good, which doesn't happen very often, but I'm not a coffee drinker, so that'll probably get saved for someone who's a brave soul who'd like to try out a Taster's Choice, which might actually be good. Got a pack of what they call Candy 1, which, if I was to venture a guess, feels like 4 packs of Tootsie Rolls. And something that we don't see very often either, a beverage-based powder apple cider. Big pack of that. And our main meal. Chicken stew, cooked, dehydrated. Can't really find the date code very well on that one. That sort of matches up with everything else. But obviously it should be from around this time frame. And as you can see, it's still got an absolutely perfect vacuum seal. That is incredibly vacuum sealed. So this is what we got, guys. What we're going to do is obviously open this up. We're going to need some hot water for that. I'm going to mix the apple cider with cold water instead of hot water. And we'll get the tray out and put everything together and Let's see what everything looks like. So there we go. That's everything. First thing we'll do is open up our main meal. That's going to take the longest to prepare. As it says here, add anywhere from 12 to 14 ounces of hot water. You know, stir, wait 5 minutes, that sort of thing. So we'll give this a tear and see if we can get a nice little vacuum seal hiss. Oh yeah. A huge rush of air inside. So it comes in a little pouch like this. Try to open this in such a way that I don't spill it everywhere. The plastic is a little sort of greasy. I'll give this a little knead just to move stuff around a little bit. And there it is. So, I mean, it's chicken stew. You can see the chunks of potatoes and carrots and peas and I guess what's going to make like a sauce base and the pieces of chicken. This stuff isn't supposed to have a smell, but the little bit of a smell I am getting is fantastic, actually. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to get some hot water from the Keurig like I normally do. I'm going to just go off camera just for 1 second and get some hot water for this and then bring it back. So we got our water in our pouch. We get our nice MRE spoon out. Give this a bit of a stir so we don't get any dry patches. Then we'll just let that sit for a little bit. Try to fold it over at least a little tiny bit. I know this is supposed to be used as, you know, a closer device to sort of pull this through, but the bag itself doesn't seem like it's going to give me enough extra, I suppose. Anyway, we'll just leave that as it is. If it loses a little bit of heat, that's no big deal. Next, we'll mix up our drink mix. So we get apple cider, which is something you don't see a whole lot anymore. Normally, if you did see it, it would come in like a white packet, like the iced tea would have came in. So we'll open this up and get it mixed. So that takes 10 ounces of water, or what they would call a half a canteen cup. There's probably going to be some sediment on the bottom. Most of these US MRE or US ration beverages like that, they leave a lot of leftover sort of sugar in the bottom that doesn't dissolve easily. Probably if I could have used a little bit of hot water first and then cold water on top would have sort of rectified that situation, but such as it is. All we really have left now, guys, is just to open up the rest of our items, I suppose. And they all seem more like snacks than sides. Got an oatmeal cookie bar, which is very vacuum sealed. Too bad it's not chocolate covered, but it looks fantastic. And it smells fantastic as well. Next we got ourselves a cornflake bar. It's odd that they give you the sort of rectangular shape and then they give you the old-fashioned sort of bar. Man, that one just did not want to give. We got our cornflake bar. And then lastly, our candy one, which I wasn't expecting to find in this. And like I suspected, we have 4 packs of Tootsie Rolls. Now, I absolutely love Tootsie Rolls, and I got a friend of mine who's a huge fan of them as well, so I'm probably gonna keep a couple of those for him, maybe if they last long enough to see them. But hopefully those are still good. Remember, this is all from 1998, so this is basically a 20-year ration. I mean, it's 2019 right now, but we're only a couple weeks into 2019, so it's about a 20-year ration. This was all packed pretty much near the end of 1998. So yeah, it is. It's all this stuff was probably put into this pouch. I'd say around 20 years ago. So a good view of how things can still look after that amount of time. A lot of American rations do have a very good shelf life. As long as they're stored well, they should last pretty well, you know? Well, I guess we can give our chicken stew a try if we want. Now, there's no pepper comes with this. Sometimes I find some of these rations really would, you know, do well with having a little black pepper with them. But we'll just take them as they are. I probably could have used maybe another ounce or two of water in this. It's a little bit gummy, but I do like this stuff. I'd rather for it to be like this than to be like soup. So we'll give this a try. Get a spoonful of a little bit of everything. So as you can see, we got chunks of chicken and carrot and potatoes and peas and this sort of, you know, chicken stock kind of base. Hopefully it's reconstituted well. Hopefully this is not going to be like eating styrofoam, but we'll see in a second. Wow, that is absolutely delicious. It's 20 years old. It's a little bit off-putting, but a lot of this Mountain House stuff, that can easily last 20 years as long as vacuum seal holds. It's freeze-dried food. As long as no air and moisture gets in, you know, this could have lasted another 10 years easily. This is absolutely perfect. For this span of time, it reconstituted well. Nothing like still seems dry or spongy. When it comes to overall flavor, you're not getting a whole lot of the potato flavor. The peas and the carrots are a little bit more prevalent. And the chicken flavor itself is obviously prevalent because of, I'm sure, the fact the base for the sauce is, you know, just sort of like a chicken stock, chicken fat kind of thing. But overall, you know, this tastes as close as you could possibly get to a homemade chicken stew. And you couldn't ask for anything better than this. Normally, I would say beef stew would always be my favorite freeze-dried main from any ration I've ever had. I tell you, this one's knocking at the door to be number one. Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat all that. This is absolutely amazing. It's probably a little bit too much of a mouthful. There we go. It probably helps that I'm really hungry right now. But yeah, when I'm done this review, that's disappearing very quickly. What I'll do next, guys, just to cleanse the palate a little bit, is give our apple cider a taste. It's got like a, you know, an iced tea kind of look to it, or, you know, any sort of standard apple cider mix. That's really, really good. It's a bit sweeter than I anticipated it being. That sort of underlying note of cinnamon that you would normally expect with an apple cider, it's there, but it's not as prevalent as the actual apple flavor itself. And it is really sweet. Not sickly sweet, but it's certainly sweeter than, say, a spiced cider, which you sometimes get as well. They can be have a little bit more of an astringent, you know, bitter aftertaste. This is just straight up a nice sweet beverage base powder, which has got, you know, more of an apple flavor than a cinnamon flavor. Not to say that's a bad thing. That's wonderful as well. Really not a whole lot extra to say, you guys. Let's give our Tootsie Rolls a try first before we cut into the break into the bars. So they give you 4 packs of Tootsie Rolls. Still look perfect. They haven't deformed in any way, shape, or form. Stuck to the cardboard a little tiny, but it's no big deal. As you can see, like a Tootsie Roll normally is, it's somewhat dense, but it is still malleable. And this should have like a, you know, nice cocoa kind of flavor. There's a reason why they pack these like this. So it gives you that extra layer of protection. It's a commercially packaged item. So it won't have the same shelf life as everything else. You know, it's going to be easier for some degree of air to sort of seep in and degrade. So because of that, extra packaging, these are still fine. You can tell they're a little tiny bit old. Obviously, they're 20 years old. They are going to have a, you know, they're not going to be perfect. But there's really nothing bad to say about this, just aside from the fact that you can tell that, you know, they are old. It's a slight sort of stale aftertaste comes in at the end, but nothing to detract from it. It's still, if you're someone who likes Tootsie Rolls, you will enjoy these. All right, guys, what we got left? We got our cornflake bar, and we got our oatmeal bar. Try a cornflake bar first. Snaps off really nice. You can see it's just literally a bar of compressed cornflakes, and we'll give it a try. That's a wonderful taste. It's a bit more complex than what you would think a cornflake bar would taste like. It doesn't taste like you just took Kellogg's cornflakes and turned them into a bar. This has got a bit more deep flavor. Seems a bit more robust, a bit more hearty. Almost like there's a bit of more grain, I guess, in it to go along to sort of increase the density of it. I don't know. All I know is that doesn't taste exactly like cornflakes, but whatever it tastes like, it is fantastic. It's a little bit sweet, but it's mostly more of like a savory, hearty kind of grain kind of flavor, which is fantastic. And lastly, guys, got our oatmeal block, which is very hard and very dense. Usually these are chocolate covered, so I've actually found more chocolate covered ones than ones that are in this sort of state, but I guess we'll see how it tastes. And that's even better. It's a little bit more sweet than the cornflake bar, and it tastes like a good, not a soft oatmeal cookie, but a good hard, sort of crunchy, crispy oatmeal cookie. Yes, obviously I think the chocolate would maybe bring it up another level. Chocolate always seems to help when it comes to this kind of stuff. I often wonder sometimes what the cornflake bar would actually taste like if it was enrobed in chocolate. But there's really nothing negative to say about that. It's a wonderful oatmeal flavor. It's nice and compressed, and it's easy to eat, and it's nice and sweet. And yeah, it's utterly perfect. This, for a 20-year-old ration, must have been stored perfectly, because this is utterly perfect. There's not one negative thing I could say about it. Even though I'm not going to make the coffee, the taster's choice sounds like it's perfect inside. So whoever had this before the person I got it from must have taken great care with it. I did get this ration. I must say this before we finish. I got this particular ration along with a bunch of other things in a great trade I did with Don Juan 21 from MREinfo.com. If you ever get a chance to do work with Don Juan, do a trade or anything like that, I would highly recommend him. Much like me, he's a Canadian. He seems like a great guy, and I'm going to continue to do business with Don as time goes on, because he's a great person to do trades with. And yeah, this has been a completely perfect ration. The Tootsie Rolls are great. The bars were great. The chicken stew is perhaps even better than the beef stew, which I never thought I'd say. And it's a nice touch to get the apple cider. Usually with this, you open it up, you expect to get, orange, lemon, lime. Grape, something like that. So we get a nice pouch of apple cider was a, sort of a nice surprise. All right, guys. Really not a whole lot else I can say here. This has been a 1998 U.S. Long Range Patrol ration, and it's been perfect. I can't say anything bad about it at all. So, like I always say, I'd like to thank you all for coming by, for stopping by, and have a good one.